Hello everybody and welcome. In today's video, we're going to talk about how to write some creepy, atmospheric music in the spirit of Halloween. And let's get started with an example of what we're going over. There are many approaches that you can take to make spooky or atmospheric creepy music, and we're going to break it down into 3 sections. First, no surprise, we need a chord progression. The progression is important when making this type of music, not just any collection of chords will do. Next, we need a melody. For the sake of simplicity, we'll focus on chord tones. And we'll get into what chord tones are in a little bit. And we're also going to use chromaticism in our melody. In addition, we'll set some atmosphere. These are using sound effects and special instrumentation to really drive home our feel. And the final point is that feel free to break free from functional harmony, meaning don't feel like you have to follow all the music theory rules. Remember, as the old adage goes, if it sounds good, then it is good. And this is especially true with horror music. Okay, so let's get to our chord progression. We're going to use the key of D minor, which is traditionally a key associated with horror music. These are the chords of our key. The first chord we're going to use is our tonic 1 chord, D minor. Next, we're going to use the 6th chord, B flat major. However, we are going to change it just a little. Instead of B flat major, we're going to make it B flat minor. And here's a top tip. The tonic 1 minor chord going to a minor 6 chord is common in horror music. Here's a chord progression using just the D minor and B flat minor chords. Alright, we've got our first 2 chords. Now we're going to use one of my favorite chords, the half diminished chord. In this case, E half diminished. This chord will really add that eerie feel we're going for. As a side note, you may see the half diminished chord with another name, the minor 7 flat 5. Just know that the 2 names are interchangeable. A half diminished chord is a minor 7 flat 5 chord. For our last chord, we need something to resolve back to our tonic 1. And there's no better chord than the A dominant 7. Now we've got our 4 chords, let's listen to what they sound like. We've got our foundation for some horror music, and now we need to add our melody. This melody is going to use a combination of quarter notes and half notes. And the melody notes are going to be chord tones. And chord tones are notes within the chord. So if you're playing the chord D minor in a measure, the notes of D minor are D, F, and A. So our chord tones of the melody would be D, F, and A. We can also use chromaticism. And a chromatic note is a note not within our key. Chromaticism is an important element in horror music. Here's an example of a simple melody using chord tones and chromatic notes. Okay, we have our progression and our melody, but we're not done quite yet, because we need to set some atmospheric mood to really invoke that spooky, creepy feel. To add some of this atmosphere, try out the website freesound.org. It's one of my favorite websites to find some really good sound effects or Foley sounds. What I did was search for wind, rain, and wolf howls. I added this underneath our chord progression. And the final step was to add a little retro feel for the piano. And the retro feel was this vinyl crackling and pop. It gives the piano the feeling of an old radio or phonograph, which really fits in with the style we're trying to create. Here is our final progression with everything added in together. As we wrap up, creepy horror music is a lot of fun to write because it allows us to break free from traditional functional harmony. Anyway, that's all for today's video. I hope you enjoyed. Thank you for watching.